Hey, what's up, creators? This is John, and you have once again found the Sketch Podcast. I am here, as always, with sketch publisher Bob Hickey, sketch editor Bill Nichols, and tonight we are talking about Sketch. That's right, the magazine. It's not just a word that we throw at the beginning of this podcast every day. It is actually a real live thing. But first, how you doing, guys?
Getting better, John.
Doing
Thanks
Excellent.
for the cold and flu season.
Yes, you sound a little less scratchy than last time I spoke to you.
Yeah.
I'm doing good, John.
Or not. Well, good. Okay,
Now
so
we stumbled across each other and everything with our niceties.
That's what we do.
Yes, we,
So what about this magazine thing I keep hearing about? Something called Sketch? How the heck did that start?
I don't know. Let's see. Sketch Magazine now, I think we're in our 10th year. Is that right, Bill? 10th?
Yeah.
Basically, it came from when Blue Line was doing a lot of shows, and of course we're selling the art supplies and the papers. We'd get asked tons of how you do this, how you do that, what sizes original artwork. And then when digital coloring came in, how you do digital coloring and a little digital lettering, and just get asked questions. And so I came up with the concept of let's just do a how-to magazine. Let's do Sketch Magazine. And we're 40 issues into it now.
Yep.
10 years. So we're not exactly hitting 6 issues a year, but we're getting close. And we're going through some format changes here in the past few months. And so it's got a lot of history. It's pretty funny. At the beginning, I didn't really think we would need a cover feature. I just thought, man, we could pack this full of how-tos and do it sort of like, do you guys remember How Magazine for graphic designers and stuff like that? I thought we could do that. But very quickly did I figure out if I did that, I would not have any stores that would buy it because comic shops doesn't understand that concept. They understand a face on the cover or an image on the cover with an interview. And the articles were sort of secondary at the beginning. So I very quickly scraped up a friend of mine, Dave Mack, who does Kabuki, and got him featured on the first issue and sort of launched it from that point. And
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't he do some comics and
He
stuff?
does a little comic called Kabuki at Marvel. Yes. I've known Dave since he was in high school. Him and an editor that was working for me used to crash my studio at night and burn up my copier machine and work all night long. So, but actually I was with Dave when he created Kabuki, or came up with the name anyway. We were heading towards New York, so.
Yeah, Dave's
Yeah, he is. He's a nice guy. So, but yeah, that's Sketch Magazine. It's in all ages, family oriented type. We don't do nude drawings or suggestive stuff. We want creators to come in at any age and want to make comics, to get as much information about making comics as they can. So that's sort of our goal. Yeah.
Well, let's kind of show off a little bit. What about who are some of the people that have been in Sketch Magazine over the years? Both, not the people that have had feature stories done on them, but the people who have actually contributed to the magazine over the years.
Pulled up that
index that you
Sketch
created.
Magazine. Yeah, I don't even think I
It's
have.
online.
Oh,
Yeah.
Where is it online?
It's online at sketchmagazine.net, a full index of every issue that Bill created. Let's see, some people who's done articles and how-tos. Well, first off, Dave sort of tore down his whole thought process. So his really first thing, and that's sort of the way you bring that up, John, is our interviews aren't so much of, oh, what are you doing today, or what's going out this next year. Our interviews are usually based around, how do you do that? What is your work day? What do you use? So our interviews are sort of different when we talk to people. When we talked to Neil Gaiman, it was sort of like, how is your day structured? How do you handle so many areas? When I talked to Todd McFarlane, same thing. How do you run a business and stay in the creative end? So our interviews are a little different. They're also how-tos. We hope we can pull that information out of it. But yeah, we've had Bo Smith was in first 20 issues or longer, Bill.
Yeah.
Chuck Dixon came in midway and contributed some great articles. Joe Stanton has done a how-to. That's more recent.
Yeah.
Golly.
Tom and Mary. Well, Tom has been in every issue.
Yes.
Tom Beerbaum has been in every issue of Sketch,
Yes.
doing an article on writing.
Yes.
And maybe someday we will collect all those into something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be thick.
Yeah.
The Beer Bomb Bible.
Yes, and Tom has contributed. Him and I are the only ones who's contributed to every single issue. Usually I cop out with just an editorial thing, but sorry. But yeah, he has been involved in every issue.
Mitch Berg.
Mitch contributed to a ton of Flint Henry came on and edited it for a while early on, and he was one of brought in Chuck and a few friends. Yeah.
A bunch. Let's see.
I happen to know Clay's Way artist Jackie Hernandez.
She is current.
Did a tutorial. Yes, did a tutorial in the most current one.
Yes, and she's working on one for the next one too.
There you
So
go.
her and Darren.
Yeah, Jason Howard's done a couple.
Yes, Jason did stuff for Robert Kirkman, Astounding Wolfman. He's an artist, and they've got a. Did you see where they just announced a family-oriented book, a family-friendly, I guess, book or whatever you want to call it? Jason, because they canceled Jason's a good friend of mine, so I'm going to hype him a little bit. They canceled Astounding Wolfman, Wolfman, because it really couldn't get the numbers they needed. And then Jason's artwork just is real clean, and so they're getting ready to launch some new title, and it's not coming to me at the moment, but they just announced it this past week. So, but yeah, Jason's good. Let's see. I have it up. Joe Caroni has been involved on several issues. Dan Davis, inker for DC Comics, has sent us several articles early on.
Paul
Sizer contributed.
Logo stuff. Yeah. In say the past 10 issues, we've got like Gary Barker has done some stuff. Scott Story has done some things about marketing or webcomic, or he does a webcomic called Johnny Saturn, which I suggest people check out because he's a good guy and it's a good thing.
Ted Adams, the owner of IDW, actually did articles for us.
I had forgotten that until I did the index. I was going, wait a minute.
Yep, did a few of them for us.
Jimmy Palmiotti sent me the process, like a 3-step process for a Painkiller Jane's cover, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
Mike Maddox done several things.
Ron
Fortier's done some stuff on character design. Go ahead.
Aaron Hubrick, who currently has a consultant company, is working with Hasbro and stuff. He's done articles for us. Hillary Barta has. So tons and tons of people from all different aspects of our industry, and a few of them outside of our industry. Pat Quinn, who teaches down in Savannah, he has done articles. Actually, his perspective book first appeared in Sketch, and then it was gathered into a book. So tons and tons of people have contributed, added to the history of it. Drew Garcia, who inks for DC now. So yeah, there's a huge amount of people who's helped us out, and more than willing to share their knowledge to continue with Sketch. Making sure that we have a new group of creators coming into our industry to keep things going.
Yeah,
so
we have more coming up.
Oh
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. I'll tell you some more names later. Go ahead, John. Sorry, I.
No, that's fine. I didn't want to step on anyone's name there that we wanted to add. But you mentioned when it started. Why did it start? Why a magazine? Why a how-to magazine? Even back all those years ago.
Right. Well, we didn't
Uh,
have digital back then. Even though
right.
if you look at some of the ads early on, I had actually grabbed a website called ewarehouse.com or ecomicwarehouse.com. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, what a name. But anyway, so early on I realized the net was coming. It was and now in just the past year it's really hit. So 10 years later, I was a little ahead of the game back then. Um, we just didn't have that release for anything digitally. It was impossible. Uploads, downloads, and the whole. We didn't have anything to read them on. So the only way to really do it was a magazine. We considered doing it comic book sized because that was the market that we knew. I had published comics 10 years previously. So we knew Diamond. We had accounts with Diamond and some other distributors, some on, direct market distributors, and we knew how to get out there. We decided to go magazine size because of the direct market distributors. Diamond really didn't care. Just means we got stuck back in the magazine section or the how-to section. I don't even think they had a how-to back then. And but just we want to show examples, to show how to do it. Even online tutorials wasn't coming along back then. We had to do it in print. And we've even, over the years, we've experimented with that to show people what you can do. So that's why a magazine. Now we can do it digitally and deliver a product quicker, cheaper, to more people. So that's sort of where Sketch is heading.
Well, and maybe you can answer this more, Bill. I know you weren't there at the very, very beginning, but I think when you came on, Sketch kind of took a turn a little. Why, not so much even why a magazine, but why a how-to magazine? Why not do another Wizard or Heroes or, name any other little entertainment magazine that's been out and about in the last 10 years? Why how-to? Why something geared specifically at what, at least on the outside, looks like a very small group of people?
Why a magazine on how to do anything? Well, actually, to back up, I was almost involved at the beginning, and that didn't work out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, tell that story.
No.
No.
No, it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Things in my personal, I was managing a video store and other things going on, other conflicts. It just didn't work out. And years later, I was fortunate enough that Bob asked me again, and I took over with number 27. In college, one of the things that my major was speech theater and English, and I was going for a teaching degree. And at some point, I quit. It's like, well, who would want to hear what I had to say? Because I really didn't see myself as a teacher. And maybe that's a self-esteem issue. Maybe it's, there are tons more people who know more about things than me, maybe. But in doing Sketch Magazine, especially in the last, several issues, those editorials that I've started to write weren't just so much like, well, this is the issue that's coming up, and here's who's in it. I did some of that, and you have a table of contents for that, and maybe I have a personal story with that, and with one of the creators like Gary Barker or something. Maybe we're doing something like collaborating on Ursula or doing something. But that's where Comics Mentor, my website, came out of, because people responded to those editorials. There's a guy, Tony Longshore, who has like 2 years ago named me as his mentor, and he did a really nice note and he sent it to me, and it just took me back, and it's that wow, that aha moment that this is what it's about. It's not about just putting out a magazine for the sake of putting it out. It's taking that information that other people have, the insights, the knowledge, all the things that go into making comics or doing this thing that we love, this industry that we are part of, and perpetuating it into other, not, in some ways there's some cross pollination. People get to see what an inker does, uh, or what a colorist does, or maybe are interested in some other aspect of things. And some people have taken those things, and even the old tutorials back in the day when things were not as we don't have the upgrades that we do now, and gone back sort of to square one and relearn some things and have learned new aspects of their own style, if you will, or their own creativity. Something that if I were to pick up Photoshop or some of the other programs right now, I probably I have a learning curve, and I'm almost 50, and yeah, I could do it, but I have so many other things, and I mean, for me, dumb it down. For me personally, dumb it down, and I might pick it up a little quicker. But that's not what Sketch is about. It's about uh, showing maybe an illustration how the process of going through from pencils to inks. So maybe that illustration is going to be a cover, so pencils to inks to cover, what it would take to be a cover, and you have in that also you have coloring, you have lettering, those kinds of things that all go in together in different ways. Um, so that's really why it's to show the process, and not just one process, but all of them, as many as I can get in there. I'm willing to cram as many things as I can, to not so much to overwhelm, but to educate. And that's where that teacher thing has come full circle in a way, is because I've been able to pass along this information, and some of it, yes, I have imparted personally, as an inker or writer, and I do that on the websites and stuff, and as more, say, contemporary, back and forth, we'll say. But in the magazine, a lot of people are not just entertained, but they get insights into other creators too. And sometimes they're friends, and they meet each other at other conventions, and say, hey, I like that, coloring thing that you did. I know that kind of thing happens. So that's why a magazine. It's to educate and to continue to further comics, uh, not only in our hearts, but in the hearts and minds of other people. Somebody who comes in, really at square one, maybe, or at some level that you know uh, they can see for themselves, not just how something is done, but why something is done. Maybe why an inker picks this line to ink more heavily, kind of thing, and learns from that. Because some people can't go to the Joe Kubert school. I mean, I would have loved to, but you can't. On some of the other schools like Ringling and Savannah and CCAD and stuff. I mean, I'm not replacing Sketch with full-fledged education in that, but we can teach you a lot.
Yep. Well, I think we also got to remember we always have new people coming into this industry. We always have new readers coming in, hopefully at a younger age, but sometimes not. And these readers are coming in. They don't know how this is produced. They don't know that there's a writer, a penciler, an inker, a colorist. And, we always hope that we get some of these people who also want to create comics. It surprised me. Well, it doesn't surprise me. I really didn't know until I was probably in my 20s the exact size of a piece of original artwork. And I bought a piece of George Perez Teen Titans artwork. and it was 11 by 17, 10 by 15 box area, borders. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And I ran into people even today who don't realize that that's the size it's made. I mean, I'm at a show selling Blue Line, and they're like, "Wow, they actually draw it that big?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the size you draw it. And you reduce it down." So sketch is there for them. And, we don't repeat, but we might retouch on things, especially as technologies get more and more coloring and lettering and that kind of stuff gets different softwares. But we always have new people coming in who aren't aware of how this is done, and it's going to be changing. I mean, we get more people working on a stylus or straight digital, and we have more people drawing web comics and web strips. So things are changing, and we want hopefully Sketch can be here for them and help them along the way and helping this industry grow. My main thing is I want to see this industry grow, continue, and do that. We continue to have creators, and we continue to have creators who can make a living at it, not just doing it on the side. And I know Bob always brings up the money end, but it's a reality. If you're going to put a lot of time into this, you've got to be able to make a living at it. So Sketch will touch on different areas, and I know Bill has reached out to some outside stuff like toy design or storyboarding, and he's done outside of the comic industry and brought in some stuff to show him. You can also reach out and find other avenues to work in. So.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, Rudy Garcia did he's done comics. He's done some comics. He has his own book called Evolution Cop, sorry. And he did a bust process. It was I think he worked for, was it Diamond?
Direct.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was, he sculpted the Wolverine bust, and he went through the process of that.
Yep.
And I learned things from that, and I just thought it was cool. And that's part of it too. Is as a fan myself, as the person that I am, I, you know, I'm a fan of learning about comics and learning new things, if I can, and being exposed to this stuff. And if I think it's cool, it's going to go in there,
Right.
and there's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, really, it is. So just like that, I mean, that was awesome to see, um, and then in more recent times to see Rudy continue on and do his comic, and that was one of his dreams. So we established these relationships too ourselves with the creators that have helped us and wanted to share you know their own personal process. So
I think that's the cool thing is that over the years we found so many people who want to share, who want to, either have a platform or something to say, hey, this is how I do it. I know there's one girl, Ingrid, who did a sketch card article for us, and by the time we got it in print, she was like, I don't even do it that way anymore. But her way was cool. She did it then. So, so it's always evolving. So, and hopefully Sketch can stay involved.
yeah, I just got Ingrid. We're talking about Ingrid Hardy, and I just got Ingrid's sketchbook to review for comic related. And yes, John, I am going to be doing that comic. I swear I will.
Okay.
And in that sketchbook, I mean, she's got it's in a way it's a tutorial too, or a how she does sketch cards. But just to look at even some of the people who have contributed earlier in the history of sketch to now, to see how those creators who are in the industry have changed their styles too.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, that also begs the question, I guess, and you kind of touched on for a second there. Is what do both of you look for as a sketch article? What needs to be in an article to be a sketch article? And you can either be as specific or as vague as you wish on that. But what are you essentially looking for?
Really, it's Sorry, I still have the remnants of my cold.
No, that's fine.
I have these coffin jacks. Um,
Drink some coffee.
yeah, too late for that, but thank you. I thought I was okay, but then I started talking.
Get yourself together. I'll take it for a second,
Okay.
and you can jump in.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the difference between what Bill looks for and what I look for, and I think it's probably because I've ran around behind the scenes of the industry for so many years and made so many contacts that I will look for a Bo Smith who's written for DC Comics, for Marvel Comics, an Image. We've been published an Image with Bo. A Danny Mickey. I've got his sketch cards from Year for Last where he did the roughs and the layouts. That's going to be in a future issue of Sketch. So I looked at these guys that I've ran around with or worked with or talked to, where and Bill can come and elaborate a little bit more. I know Bill will reach out to if he sees an article. He saw an article on this Jewish strips. And I was like, I wouldn't have touched that, but it was good. It was very good. I was proud that we got to share it in Sketch, but I wouldn't personally have touched it. And then he brought in one that was about chickens and point of view, just storytelling. And there again, I don't know if I would have looked at it or not. Bill did, and they're beautiful articles. And so hopefully between what I can help contribute and then what Bill actually brings in and everything, we get a nice mixed match of seasoned creators and who are wanting to show either from the beginning of process to end of process, or if they're just wanting to share tips and techniques or something they've stumbled across to these newer creators that's either online or print independent who are doing things their own way and they're sharing. I mean, we really ran into a lot of sketch cards recently because that's the hot thing, creating sketch cards. My friend Yuko Smith, he's a big sketch card artist. So is Joe Croney, and we've had several sketch card artists come in and show us their techniques, and I think it's important. You can see how a sketch card does one figure, one bust, but that can be elaborated into working on a page. So I know I had a call from early on from Dave Dorman. I've known Dave for many years, and he's like, "Hey, I just want to tell you, I learned how to letter my comic by reading Sketch Magazine." And I was like, "Wow, that's awesome." He's a painter, he's an illustrator, and he really hadn't done any digital lettering until he did a little self-publishing. And he said, "Hey, I read the article in Sketch and got me through it." So that's the kind of stuff that we want to help. So we're helping pros along with people who's just now coming in the industry.
So, and Bill can elaborate on this. You look for people. You're looking more at the Bo Smiths and stuff like that. You look at people and from what you were saying about Bill is he looks at teaching opportunity, or he looks at the subject more. Is that true, Bill? Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, sometimes I look at the spirit of the piece. The Jewish religious cartoons was by I think Jessica Zimmer.
I think so, yeah.
And I don't know, it was a little offbeat for what you would think might be in Sketch per se, but I picked up some things from I got a different insight, and that's a teaching moment, and that's not just sometimes in your technique or whatever, but in your thought process, because that influences you as well as a creator. Or Jerry Allen Whelan did the chicken thing that you were talking about, was his book, his own created book, Elmer, and it's about a chicken. Yeah. And he sent me one afterwards, and I mean it's pretty cool. He's an awesome inker, and he's a pretty cool writer, and I like the book. So if you ever have a chance to check out Emmer, yes, it's about a chicken, but check it out.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, and plus he's a cool guy too. But yeah, I mean, I look at sort of the subject matter, what there is to teach. So many times I've heard somebody, say inkers. I have a lot of inker buddies, and they'll say, "Well, how many ways can you show, the same thing?" But if you look online at different places, you can find examples. And I know they ran this in DC a few years ago, where 3 different inkers ink the same panel, and by looking at those um, differences, because not even um, they didn't ink the same way. They picked up different nuances in the panel itself, and I think it was a Batman panel, and you can learn from that because you may idolize an inker, and I know people who have back in the image days of early image with all the image lines and all that stuff, the shading and all that, where it was dark and then it would fade out a little bit with the cross hatching and stuff. I know people who would study those lines and try to get them, dead on, or the little sort of the serrated blade look, you know, uh, things like that. But sometimes it isn't just about knowing how to do it; it's knowing why and when to do it. Because sometimes it doesn't fit. Maybe you're inking something and you have say it's steel. Okay, Bob Layton on Iron Man does this really shiny armor, um, but somebody else could ink that same shiny armor. Maybe it was shiny in the pencils, but the way they ink it maybe makes it more organic, kind of thing. It's. Uh, I mean, I've seen some guys in portfolio reviews do some metal stuff like cars and things, but it has sort of an organic feel. Not so much. Uh, I don't know. It's a technique thing, and I looked at their stuff, and by looking at that piece of their art, it to me spoke to the rest of their portfolio in a way, because I instead of saying, well, you ink this like it's an orange, it looks like it's a piece of fruit or something. It has texture, and it's a shiny car kind of thing. And instead, I looked at I could broaden that into, oh, okay, that's something that has to do with the way that they've approached whatever portfolio piece that they were doing. And yeah, it's about the subject matter, and sometimes it's about the teaching moment, and sometimes it's about the personality, and sometimes it is about the person too, because I know a lot of people, and I know that there are people out there, industry pros and veterans in the industry who do want to tell their stuff, or who do want to pass along their techniques or their insights into things, and they're all too glad to do it. It's sort of it's giving back, and we happen to provide a forum for that. Will's Portasio has that open door, and sometimes he's going to use it because he's teaching now, and we we talked about it. So to me, that's cool. Just the name and just the idea of what he could show, and there are others. So I don't know whenever his schedule works out, but uh, there are a lot more out
Yep.
there. And
Well, we got a 2-part Alex Ross interview coming up that has talked a lot about techniques and how to. So, that's cool. That was one of the premier guys that we wanted to get, and we finally got him. But and Sketch has even evolved outside of the magazine. I mean, you guys are running boards, and on the boards, you guys are sharing information and stuff like that. Portfolios, you're doing contests. So Sketch has evolved outside of that. John, You run the video how-tos every day on comic related.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like sketches. Yeah, the magazine that started and the magazine's still out, but we're branding. We've reached out and Bill's were involved in the boards at comic related, and you run the online. And I'm hoping early next year we get the videos going online, video how-tos at Sketch. So it's evolving, it's growing, it's going to really take off this coming year, and it's all geared around learning or staying pumped. I know, John, you come across interviews where you'll find an old interview of a creator that's just talking about it, and it's just to get you motivated. It might not be a how-to or a technique, but it just gets you motivated. I love that you put some Macy Parade stuff on there with the Marvel balloons. That was cool, So it's just to get you motivated, get you going. So, and nothing can make you draw like one of the best artists. You can't read a magazine and do it. You have to do it. But hopefully, with the sketch laying next to you, giving you some tips and techniques, it'll keep you rolling. And then jump on there and listen to Comic Mentor with Bill, giving you motivation. Just a little plug, Sketch Digital is out. First 10 issues and the best stuff is available at Blue Line. So if you want them digitally, I think it's $19 or something like that for 10 issues, 3 different formats. We even put the first 12 podcast on there, so that's available if you want it like that. So Sketch has been around. We've done a lot of good stuff. Bill's done a lot of good stuff. John, you've done a lot of good stuff with the online for the past couple years now, hasn't it?
Something like that. I forget how long, but that actually opens up another question. Before I asked why a magazine, now why still a magazine? I mean, 10 years later, the world has changed greatly. Our lives are absolutely ruled by this little shiny box on all our desks. So, why continue it as a magazine or even follow a magazine format in what is the digital age? I've stumped the panel, ladies and gentlemen. No.
Well, it's been in discussion, I'll be honest. Why continue it in print? We've gone both ways, and be honest, we took a long break in between issues. I just had to. There's no way around it. I had to do it. But we just cranked out 40. We got 41 ready to roll. Hopefully end of this month, first of next month, and it's going to start rolling again. I still think, just like comics, why are they still making monthly comics? Why aren't they just doing digital? Digital is much cheaper to produce. It's much cheaper to deliver. But even though there is so many iPads out there, I don't think there's enough yet. I still think print is still a necessity. If you want to get advertisers, if you want to get information into most people's hands. And another thing, I don't draw with a laptop sitting next to me. I don't know why. It's just not my setup. My art table is in one area and my computer and design area is in another area because they both take up so much room. That's just me. So I don't know if I'd feel comfortable sitting there with a laptop, and I guess I will eventually, or an iPad sitting there and reading it as I'm drawing it or trying to pull something off of it. Where if I had the magazine there, I can look and say, oh yeah, okay, and try some different techniques, So I still feel like at this moment there's a need for a print version of the magazines. It's something we will constantly be reviewing. We will constantly be questioning. Like I said, first next year we want to get into video how-tos. So we might see a larger need for those. We don't know yet. So, but right now, on a business end, I think we need it in print.
as a fan thing too. I mean, people like paper. Um, they do like that, that tangible thing that they can go to, and they if say someone runs a series or whatever, they can bookmark all those inking tutorials or all those coloring tutorials and go to those and read them one after another. And yeah, you can do that online, but I don't know. There's something about the tangibility of having something in your hand.
Yep.
It's solid. Sketch is solid.
Now, I will say, when we launched the short-lived Comics XP digital distribution company, Sketch was its main seller. We sold more Sketch magazines. We didn't even have them all online. I think we had 20 so copies online, issues online, and maybe not that many, but was consistently one of the top sellers. So I see the possibility of the digital doing well, but I think at this point it will be as an add-on, not as the main item. I do see that possibly changing though, with more areas for your digital distribution, more locations that you can put it in front of people. I see that possibly changing in the future. But right now, still in print. Don't worry. Next one will be out in print.
Yeah.
Did we answer your question, John?
Yes, you
All
did.
right.
Did that spark another question, John?
Don't they always? So, we touched on the future a little bit. We've spoken many times about the upcoming 2 issues that will cover Alex Ross.
Yes.
How far ahead are we on the future of Sketch? What is coming up in the future? What do you want this magazine, be it digital or print, to become? Are you happy with the magazine the way it is? Is it status quo right now, or what are your plans?
2 issues with Alex Ross.
That's
No. It's sort of funny you asked that because very early on, my wife, she said, I think we're on issue 2. She goes, how many of issues can you do of telling people how to make comics? And I just looked at her real weird, and I'm like, what do you mean? She says, well, how many times can you tell somebody how to draw a comic? And I don't know, maybe I'm a little slow, but I had never thought that there would be a limit on how many issues we could do. And there's not. Here's a good thing is that everybody does something different. So, draw, pencil, ink, color, we all come up with our own ways and stuff. But to answer your question, what's in the future? We've got a list of creators that we've contacted or in the process of contacting and gone ahead and get featured interviews set up. Bill has a backlog of articles, including I think we've talked to Danny Mickey article. I know Tom Bearbaum's always available. Bo's been kicking a few out lately. Who else do you have in the bucket?
Mark Deary, who's an inker. He's coming up. Mark McKenna, a buddy of mine. He's right now. I think he's inking some Archie stuff, but he's inked. I don't know, something like 6,000 pages. He started in Marvel Bullpen, and that's coming up. I think I have a commission tutorial on how to ink a commission from Bob Allman, kind of thing. It's not just inking, but those are off the top of my head. I mean, I have a couple of people who want to do writing, making a pitch. Ron Fortier, I think, has another one coming up soon with, developing not just the pitch, but it's things that we've talked about too, developing characters for the pitch, working with that artist, to make the pitch, and sort of that collaboration kind of thing. And of course, we still have plenty of contests to run too.
Right.
Contest winners to run, but I think also in that those are other teaching moments too, because that spurs other people to think that I can't wait for the next contest.
All right.
Or I can't wait to see what's in the next contest or who won.
We also we show new products if we come across something new that's cool and usable as far as a tool or supply. We show new art books that are hitting the market, keep them updated on it. We're going to do a feature on the Wright Brothers software, writing software. Is that right, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Screenwriter.
they've supplied us with a couple copies of their software that we're going to do articles on, and very, very useful software. So we're constantly looking at different things. We've got a bucket. We've got stuff sitting here. We're constantly rolling stuff that don't fit back. Jackie Hernandez is doing another illustrated article. She draws Clay's Way, and she draws confectionaries. That's currently on comicrelated.com. So I know her and Darren are. I don't know if Darren's involved, but I know she's drawing. I think Darren's involved too in the writing part of it. We got stuff that works. Can I sit down and tell you the next 6 covers? No, because you never know when we do an interview and we sit down and edit it, and we might come up with more questions. So we might go back and hit them with more questions. So I can tell you the next 2 is Alex Ross. I can tell you we probably have a list of the next 8 that are in the works. So.
Yep, many people who have said yes.
Yes.
Or wait till I mentioned it before. Jeff, J. Scott Campbell, Jeff, has said yeah, but he said wait until I'm doing this.
Right.
So then I have something that's current or that I'm working on, and I can show the process of. But, there's several people.
Well, I just talked to Greg Horn. He's got something to work with Marvel Comics where he might be doing some interiors. When that hits, he's going to get a hold of me. We're going to schedule up something. Matt Bush, Star Wars artist. We always discuss doing a feature with him or some how-tos.
I have one from Matt.
Yeah. Okay, so. Cool. Good. So, yeah, I mean, we have a lot in the works. I know I just saw my friend, I know Tony Moore, who did Walking Dead. I saw that he's getting ready to launch a Venom series at Marvel. So we might just have to hit Tony up for some how-tos in the cover interview.
I know you talked to Tony Harris in Atlanta.
I spoke to Tony Harris and had a long conversation with him down there in Atlanta. And he's up for getting into it. He's been into it a long time. He's full of information about creating comics, and he's worked in a studio. He's out on his own. He did Starman for DC Comics. He's just a great guy, real great guy. Tell you what it is, but he's a great guy. So, yeah, I mean, we have tons of stuff to share. How will we share it? It's going to be the magazine. I had to get more original stuff online, so we'll get it out there. And that's not counting the guys we're working with. Eddie Newell, he's going to save us some step-by-step stuff of how he creates. It's just amazing. I had to watch him a few weeks ago, paint on a page. It's amazing. Yuko Smith's going to hopefully come on first of the year, work on a title with us. When he does that, we'll break down his process and share it in sketch.
And when are you going to do one?
Who?
You both, either one of you, actually.
We're sort of the fill-in guys.
Fill-in.
Yeah, we're like, oops, we got a page. Okay, I'll do it. Here, boom. So early on, we did a lot. But right now, there's so many people out there and so much information to get that if we need to cover something, we will. But we spend more our time trying to gather up as many different areas as we can get for this. And then, of course, we do stuff like this, the podcast. And we do stuff like the online. So, to contribute.
Yeah, we are the conduits.
The conduit.
I've been called many things, but not a conduit, Bill.
You're a conduit.
You're a conduit.
Well, it strikes me, Robert, that you could do a Clay's Way tutorial.
Yes, I could.
Yes, you could and should.
I should. You know what? I should just grab the cover of my own magazine and promote my own stuff. I've been very careful not to do that. But a how-to inside's cool, and I feel
Yeah.
like, I, wow, I think we've got 24 strips done online. I've got another 8 sitting here, and I save each step in each process now, from her thumbnails to her pencils to me repenciling it, and then inking it and coloring it. That I would say probably in one of the Alex Ross issues, I should do a Clay's Way. Um, Probably could do something as far as like setting up WordPress, just a real brief, because you could do a
Mhm.
whole book on setting it up, and then launching it, and then I could do the art end of it. But sure.
Right. Since you were pulling a Jackie at Atlanta.
Yes, I did 8 strips I inked in 2 days. I was proud of myself.
That's right.
I worked hard, and I have pictures to prove it. I haven't posted them yet, but yes, there's pictures to prove that I worked hard, Bill.
I believe
Believe
it.
it or
So,
not.
yeah,
You always work hard.
yeah.
Just do too many things at one
Well,
time.
that I wanted to get all the strips inked for the rest of the year in Atlanta, and I was able to achieve it. So I was happy with it, and they look good. I was real happy with them, and still am once I came back. That doesn't always happen, but yeah, they're good. Working on a series of trading cards, for Clay's Way, and doing some cards for comic related. So there's a lot of stuff that we contribute. We do. We sort of, at least I feel. I don't know. I shouldn't talk for Bill, but we're sort of like, oops, we got a hole here. Let's put something together for it. Rack that knowledge of 20 plus years of doing this and come up with something. But usually Bill's real good at filling it up. I'll jump in and gather up all the art books that are new and recent, and if I come across a cool tool, I might do a tutorial on a cool art tool or marker set or something.
I think you're minimizing your talent. Both of you should have a regular spot in the magazine where you do your own tutorials.
We probably should, and yeah, we should.
Yeah, but
But
for if the choice was me or any of the, say, an inking, if and I have put myself in the magazine with collaborating with Gary on Ursula because
mhm.
that's something as we go or whatever. But say for inking, provided I don't take, I do make copies of the steps sometimes, and just as a backup of whatever I'm doing. But I'd rather read, about somebody else, Mark McKenna,
Well, the
those guys,
magazine's
Oh,
not just for you.
yeah, it's not. It's just, well, I mean, no, but it's not just for me to
Well, I understand what
There's-
John's talking
fill
about.
it up
Though.
with me.
Think about,
No, there's a lot of
Oh,
people
I-
who would like to see your process.
but think about it.
Nah.
We tell everybody to build brand here, Bill. Build your brand, build your knowledge, build your name. But yet we truly don't take advantage of that in our own magazine.
Right.
I
I
understand
mean,
where John's coming from, saying,
yeah,
Oh yeah, I know.
yeah.
the proof, here we are putting it out there that we are the authorities.
Oh,
Well, hey,
wait a minute.
let's show some
We're a
proof here.
source. I never
Well,
say
I
we're.
know. I know.
I don't believe there's a true authority,
No, of course.
but we are a source of information. You're an online
Right.
source. Our boards are an online source. The magazine is a print source. So, and just one of several. There's what I love about the online that you're doing is that you get to reach out to people who are just doing it for fun, or maybe they are working on their brand, but you're able to draw stuff in and share the how-to that way. And so, well, I agree. We probably need to contribute more, and I'm glad to have this past year behind me. There was a lot of changes, so hopefully I can get it in my schedule to definitely do more contribution in some way, either in sketch or on the video end of it, or whatever is next.
So you heard it here first, listeners. Hold them to it that they're each doing their own articles in 2011.
All right.
I never said any such thing.
Yeah, you did. I'm gonna hold you to it, Bill.
You just committed yourself
Uh,
without even realizing it.
Committed might be the word.
That's what you.
I think for well, I mean, not just for maybe both of us, but sometimes we have so many things going on too that for me to pick one thing or to to focus on one thing sometimes at the aforementioned sketchbook review column for comic related, I've got sketchbooks to review, but at the same time I'm doing that, I have pages to ink or this to do, that to do, and it's focus, and then we'll go back to comics mentor advice, but uh, for me, I think there are a lot more people who are more interested. I would rather be the teacher. I would rather be the conduit to expose people to more cool stuff, and that's not a bash myself or whatever. It's or even elevated myself by putting myself in the magazine. I just want people to know how much cool stuff there is in comics out there, not just in projects or titles or formats, but creators and everything else. So I'm good with that. I'm content to do that. That's not uh, a bad thing. I'm say that, but I do take. You never know. Okay, you never know.
You can also teach by doing, so there you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
It's going to happen.
And scene.
Just consign yourself to the fact that it's going to happen.
It will happen someday. I'm just not gonna plan for it.
That's okay. I will.
It'll be a surprise. And next question.
Way to deflect. All right, so I think we may have covered most of it. We covered history. We covered why. We covered the future. What else do we have to say about this wonderful little magazine of ours?
Go subscribe.
Go subscribe. Actually, yeah, that's a good point, and one we probably don't hit on nearly enough. That the magazine isn't necessarily being carried by that many, magazine distributors or comic stores. So, as people who like this podcast, as people who want the information, what can they do to get the magazine? Tell them what the subscription process is, or how they can badger their local comic store person to get it for them.
Well, the easiest way, if you want it to come directly towards you, of course, is just to purchase a subscription at bluelinepro.com. And I'm heading over that way to see what the fee is. Yeah, there we go. With the subscription, the cool thing about by buying a subscription is that you get 6 issues, and you get a Club Blue membership that comes along with that. And a Club Blue membership, you get a $15 discount coupon. So that's like almost half of your subscription money back to be used. And you get 15% off of any purchases made at bluelinepro.com. And you have a free classified in each issue that you're subscribed to if you want to use. And you would not be surprised how many people do not use that classified. I don't understand it, but it's a great way to hype your book, hype your website, hype your blog, whatever. It's 20 words free classified. Use it. So this membership is free when you subscribe. A subscription, 6 issues, it runs $35.70. You just go to bluelinepro.com, scroll down to magazines, click on Sketch Magazine, click on subscriptions, takes you straight to it. You'll get the next 6 issues. That's the most convenient way to get it. It had been discussed that may be the only way to get it. We are offering 42 through Diamond with the Alex Ross cover, but Diamond has been real finicky about magazines, real finicky about how-tos. If you don't reach a certain threshold that they set up, it gets dumped. You don't get those orders. I can't depend on Diamond to make sure this magazine comes out. That's one thing we had to modify. We are distributed through a few small magazine distributors. I don't know that information. I know they're scattered. It's not a good way to try to find it. It's a better way to stumble across it. We're in a few art stores the same way. There again, I do not know the art stores, but there's a few art stores that still get it in each issue. So the most convenient way would be go on Sketch, or I think I have a link to the subscription on sketchmagazine.net also that you can click to it. So, but yeah, I mean, you get almost half of your money back plus a discount if you go that route. So you can't hardly beat it.
And if we are late or if something happens, you still get
you get 6 issues, not a year subscription. You get a 6-issue subscription. So, but yeah, that's the easiest way. And we are in some bookstores, comic book stores. I didn't mean to leave those guys out that we sell directly to also. So, but it's just scattered. You know, nobody. It's a shame, but a lot of bookstores don't know what to do with it. A lot of comic shops don't know what to do with it. Same way they don't know what to do with Blue Line's art paper. Well, you stick it out there for people to buy and use the magazine to help sell the other stuff. But it's sort of hard to get across. The stores who get it, get it. If you want your store to carry it, all they got to do is call Blue Line at 859-282-0096 and just tell them that they want to start carrying it. That's it. It's easy.
Yeah.
So that's how.
Yeah, they can get their customers to draw comics and perpetuate it even further.
Yep.
Even more comics.
More comics you have, the longer the industry stays strong and vital.
You got it. That's the ticket. Keep it going. So, guys, Sketch Magazine.
It's good stuff.
Yes.
And we've had some cool people on our cover. Some Michael Turner, who I miss very much. To J. Michael Straczynski, to Todd McFarlane, to Dave Mack, to Neil Gaiman, to just tons and tons of people. Michael Ringo, who I miss. I was just on his site today checking out some of his last posts. So we've been honored. We've had a lot of great people on it, and we're going to have a lot of great people on it in the future. So, sketches.
Yeah, it is kind of cool how eclectic the covers have been. It's not stuck on one specific kind of creator or anything like that.
No, I mean, we're not like Wizard that we need the darling of the year, whether it's, and this ain't taking a shot at nobody, but say J. Scott Campbell's hot, which his covers are hot, but Wizard will put him on every other issue,
right,
depending on what other hot character it is. Frank Cho, we've had Frank Cho. So it just depends. We go to who we think can not only offer up as a success, but can also tell us information about how they got there and what they're doing and how they stay there. This is information that we want to share. Is okay, you're there, you're in top, you're the John Romita Jr. Okay, we sort of know how you got there, but how are you staying it? How are you still producing after all these years? What are you doing? And that's information that I personally want to know. And come to find out, there's a lot of people out there that personally want to know it. So that's the covers actually evolved into a major part of the magazine. Where at the beginning, I didn't think we would need them. I didn't think we need a cover story, but it's a great source for information. So.
And there's your short answer.
That one very short.
Of what Sketch Magazine is.
Yes.
We want to know because everybody else wants to know.
That's right.
And that's why we do the magazine.
Yes. And the online, and the boards, and the contest.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
And soon to be showing up at a con near you.
Oh man, did you see that
Next year.
con list?
I know.
Woo! We'll be announcing soon our con list.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Just count on not being home.
I'm going to have to drag my family
Most
with
of
me
next
to
year.
a lot of
Yeah.
these. So we just have to get it all scheduled out. But Atlanta was
Yep.
fun. Atlanta
Bill,
was
fun.
you were missed. You were missed, Bill.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got to meet Henry Winkler, and I was thrilled. Thank you, John.
You're
And
welcome.
it was a great weekend. I got a lot of work done. John and Chuck was behind the table a lot. The girls, Alicia and Samantha, was there to help Mike run Blue Line, so I was actually able to just crank on work, and I had a blast. It was a great weekend, a nice convention. I think if Wizard got off their butt and really promoted it, it'd been a killer convention. And hopefully they will. Hopefully they'll get a promotional program in place that works. Because I like the convention center. I like where it's at. I just think they got promoted a little bit better. So.
And they got to get with that hotel that's actually attached.
You didn't like that
to the
walk,
convention
did you?
center. That walk was a little rough after
There
a
was
while.
a shuttle. You should have jumped on that shuttle.
Nah.
I told Billy to get on that shuttle because you see that little coat, Bill Tucci. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that little coat he had on? He was going to walk with us. I'm like, I don't think so. Get on that shuttle, man. You're crazy. So, but no, it was a good show. It's just I wish we had more people. I guess
Yep.
you had a lot of shows you wish had more people, but they had a great artist. They had some great talent. They had the Walking Dead, zombies. I mean, they had so many people there. They just needed more people through the door. And hopefully next year they can pull that off because I'd like to go back if they'll promote that more. So, okay, well, so we realize we're going to be doing another one of these like in a couple of days, but you want to catch
Yeah, no
you
doubt.
want to catch us up on what's been going on online?
Yeah, this actually for the first time in a long time is going to be darn near the point where you're listening to it, listeners. It's going to be within a day or
Yes.
two of when you're actually hearing it, because we're
Running.
a little, we're a little tardy, shall we say, this time. So life intruded, as it were. So you'll be caught up a great deal. For Monday, the 13th, as a matter of fact, I found this tutorial on coloring by a self-professed newbie to the coloring field. He's brand new at it. He's doing his first coloring job. And, as I've said, and as I just said to Bill, I'm a firm believer that you can learn by doing and watching others do things. That's kind of the whole thing behind Sketch Magazine. So I really like this tutorial especially because he knows that he's not the know all and end all and be all of coloring. He knows he's just starting out, but he still goes through his process and he discusses what he's doing, and the music he has in the background kind of rocks. So I decided to run that particular one. Then I've got another one where this one's about turning your line art into non-photo blue lines. Back in the back not so long ago, inkers had to either be incredibly careful or ink on vellum or tracing paper to not potentially mess up the original art from the penciler. Um, and, one accident could completely obliterate some art, and it'd be very hard to get it back in a lot of cases. And I think everyone who's ever touched an inking bottle has at least had one major fatal spill. So this one shows you how to take that original line art, switch it over to non-photo blue so you can print that out of your printer and ink that, also allowing you to have double the amount of original art. So check that one out. That's kind of cool. That's of course for people who don't already draw in non-photo blue, or in the case of our friend Jackie Hernandez, red.
Not anymore.
Uh, no, you got her away
I
from
hope
that, did
so.
you?
Yes.
Yeah, I inked one of her pieces recently
Oh
in red, and
no.
it was like, oh goodness, it was a toughie.
Yeah.
But anyway, then I came across this thing. I had never seen these pins before. The Latraset or Letraset Tria markers. Um, but there is and this is especially true of sketch cards, but it's true of other work too, especially in the manga community, that there's this whole section of people who don't do digital coloring. They use marker sets, and this is a new set of markers that I'm not familiar with. Now, I did find out through a little research that these markers are carried on Blue Line Pro.
Yes.
But I personally have never touched these markers, and I am I'm slightly interested now to see what they can do. I have kind of an ink pen marker problem. I have hundreds of markers because I always want to know what they do. So these are new for me, and I really like watching this tutorial. So I think I'm going to have to go over to Blue Line and order a pair. Um, Then the next one, it's another coloring one. This one's in Photoshop. And I originally got it because, hey, it had monkeys on it. But this one's a coloring Photoshop. I mentioned that coloring in Photoshop is actually relatively easy if you think about it. You're just throwing color on a lined piece of paper. However, doing it well and doing it professionally and doing it to the point where it is ready to be reproduced in a comic is a very specific skill. And those people that can do it well deserve tons of respect. So, this one here is actually on unifying colors and balancing them. That's kind of an old art trick, dealing with color families and how colors work together and unifying them. So, that's an interesting tutorial, especially if you are really just getting into the coloring aspect of your work. I found another one using Photoshop that's adding glows and shines to things. Um, of course, on our comic pages, even if we're doing something completely fantastical, we're trying to ground it in as much reality as we can. Actually, I learned a new word recently called verisimilitude for a art book I was reviewing of Brian Hitch's. He uses verisimilitude in there, which means making something real, making the fantastical real. So this is using shines and glows on a metallic surface to give it that sense of reality, to give that sense of depth. So check that out, especially if you have something specifically metallic in whatever work you're doing. It's very easy to, let metallic things look completely unrealistic. So check that out. Then this next one, you mentioned before, occasionally I throw things up there just to be inspirational. Um, I found several videos of creators talking about Jack Kirby. For those of you who don't know who Jack Kirby is, I'm extremely ashamed of you, because Jack Kirby is kind of the pinnacle of our field. Always was and always will be, and definitely a name that you should know very well. So I have several videos, actually two separate videos, and then one extended uh, sort of television show with that talks to Jack Kirby and several people talking about Jack Kirby. So check that out. Then the next one, I found a relatively new one about Joe Kubert talking about his process. And Joe Kubert is another one of those names that people should know. Legend in the field, father of two of Marvel's most popular artists, runs the Kubert School that Bill mentioned earlier. You know, definitely deeply entrenched in our industry if there ever was anybody. So go check that out as well. Speaking of legends, I found a painting thing, which you don't see it very often from him, but I found a painting thing with Neil Adams.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, using dyes and watercolors to paint a Supergirl piece. And the best part of that is he's explaining himself as he goes.
Cool.
So that's really cool. As I said, you know, most people think of Neil Adams as penciler. You don't often get to see him paint, so that was a nice surprise. Uh, then I found one on cross hatching. Cross hatching is one of those things that it's an inker's tool. It's something in the inker's toolbox, but I don't think it gets the respect that it deserves as much because it really is an excellent method on creating value. So it doesn't often, you know, it often gets pushed aside in favor of other stuff. So that's another one I thought was pretty cool. And then have one of this artist in Luxembourg, of all things. His name is Andy Jenin, something like that. And he works for Viper Comics and does several Marvel cards, as well as some other independent publishers here in America. So there's an interview with him there. And that may have caught me up. I'm not sure. Let me check. I have two more on drawing with markers. Oh no, these are some new ones here. I have a couple drawing. Yeah, like I said, it's been a while, so I don't know. I forget how many I post. But anyway, this is someone just drawing with markers, and as I say on here, never be afraid to use different tools. Despite what people tell you, despite even what we tell you in this podcast, there is no one way to get your work done. Everyone is unique. It's another thing I found in this Brian Hitch book I just reviewed. Everyone is unique in the way they do everything. No two people will ever ink alike. No two people will ever pencil alike. Doesn't matter what the tool is. No two people will use it the same way. So you need to find the tool that works best for you. And this particular person has achieved some stellar work with Prismacolor marker. So, you know, that's important too, to just find what works best for you and grab onto it with both hands and don't let anybody tell you any different.
Right.
Because if you're getting what you want out of that particular tool, stick with it. Then also, I have a very basic tutorial on the first steps of drawing a female figure. A lot of artists, especially a lot of young artists, are so used to drawing overly muscled guys or big machines or monsters or things like that, that they have a great deal of trouble dealing with the subtlety of drawing women. A lot of people, especially a lot of people starting out, tend to draw very blocky, very, you know, kind of butch women, for lack of a better term. And to really get that soft feminine form takes a lot of practice. So there's a basic tutorial there on that. And I believe that might actually bring me up to where I was before.
Wow.
So that was a
It
lot.
has been a while. Bill, so what's going on at Comic Mentor and over on the boards?
Over on the boards.
Oh, I have a question before you start. You said
Go
the
ahead.
inking contest it was waiting on me.
Yeah, we need just a format to. We have those 3 pages from Andy Smith, and we just need a place to host that sort of, or a page to host that, or pick the image that we're going to use.
Okay, I don't have those pages.
I forwarded them to
No.
you. Okay.
I just went through 2 months with the emails looking for something else, and I remembered that. You said that in the last podcast. I was like, if he did, I don't know where they are. So forward to me again, or just go pick one. But what do you need? Do they need to be able to download them? Do you need to
Yeah.
put a PDF up? Okay, so
Yeah.
forward to me. Tell me which one
That's
you want,
right.
and then I'll put the
Right.
PDF up on the and then you can put a link to the PDF.
Yeah. That's basically
Yeah.
what.
Okay.
We just need to set that up, and that's what we're going
One
to
I
be
need to
coordinating.
get going right now, and I'd forgotten. It's going to go in the next sketch issue. Is Despicable Me video that comes out this week? I think tomorrow. I
Oh
have
yeah.
some videos to give away.
Ooh,
So,
nice.
won't you, if you want to go over and announce, draw your favorite hero or your favorite villain as a hero, and just get something in the works, if you don't mind. You want to do that, Bill?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
rewards is we have a few copies of Despicable Me, the animation to give away. They
Okay.
reminded me today that they were sending them. I was like, oh, okay. We'll put that in the next sketch. So, but we can also get it cranking on the boards too. So we have a couple we can get going.
Yeah. Cool.
So I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. The emails are on its
Okay,
way.
cool.
I think it's pages from X-Men Forever, maybe. Anyway, Andy Smith, awesome
I love
guy,
Andy.
awesome artist. Yeah, he's pretty cool. We know a lot of cool people, which is awesome too. On Comics Mentor, in the past week, I've been sick, and that's why we were going to podcast last week, and what was it, 5-10 minutes beforehand, I said, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
Because I was, sick as a dog. I had a flu, and you can still probably tell that I'm not totally there, but getting there. But I apologize for not posting, and then it's encouraging that so many people have, and some people said in emails and such that it was concern and or encouragement for me, and that's awesome too. That it's not just one way. It's back to me, and it's also to other people sometimes, and that's one of the things about comic related, the forum there, and our sketch magazine board, and the other people, the creators who are involved, that it is a mutual, not so much admiration thing, but an encouragement thing. It is a place, and other missions boards are that way too, but that's where I am, so there you go. It is a place to put your work out there and have other people react to it and maybe give you feedback, just like I mentioned Fred Lang, which is a short version of his name. Fred did that bounty hunter script. He put up page 1, and I gave him some feedback. Ron Fortier gave him some feedback, and I think a couple other people mentioned it, some things that they saw. So he reworked that entire page because he's looking at this seriously as a career, and he's done that. He's done the first 5 pages of that bounty hunter script. I encourage you to go look at a tutorial from Sketch. I said, hey, this is what this is, and because in the process he learned from it, and other people have learned from it by looking at his work, and the very fact that he's learning from it encourages them in their journey. So Comics Mentor and Comic Related, stay tuned to both, because we'll have these ink contests and the art contests up, and in sketchmagazine.net we'll have all those the news. It won't just be in one place, it'll be in multiple places, so be on the lookout. So
And is there new stuff at the top of the Comics Mentor page, or have I just not been over there in a while?
Shame on you, Bill. John.
I know.
huh. Fine. Thanks a lot, John.
No problem.
Uh, No, sometimes I change up the words, and Bob did a logo for me, but
We gotta get it on there.
I gotta
get in there
it's
and
just
code
finding the place
right.
to upload. Because that's one of the places where I'm stupid.
No, you're not.
I just don't see it.
WordPress can be a little tricky.
Right. I mean, it's looking right in front of me, but I just can't. It's forest for the trees syndrome sometimes, and I'm looking right at it, and I maybe can't see it. It's like,
WordPress can be a little tricky, so it's not a big deal. We got.
No, it just seemed like Comics Mentor Academy was new, so.
Oh yeah, I've added that. That's the thing.
Where, so I'm not so stupid.
Yeah, you're not stupid. I change up those tabs every so often as I think of other things or I lump things together. And when I say testimonials, like for example, that's just people who it can share their story, and I need to change that because I don't want it to be like, well, I subscribed to Comics Mentor and I learned scads about it. I don't want it to be that.
Why
I
not?
want it to be too about. Well, I mean, I want people to understand that other people are out there, just like Antonio Garcia, and Anthony Hochran, and guys that we talk about or talk to, who find out things or ask us questions, and like Antonio thought he was the only one, or just felt like he was the only one who worked a whole job and then came home and did comics. It just felt that way. He didn't, sometimes you can't know the experience outside your own world so much, and that's another thing that we're for, and people can share their stories, and there's a kinship that establishes between creators and friends, just like Chicago a couple years ago, where our message board guys all got a table, and Ryan was there, Jake was there, Jake Sullivan, Ryan Paul, Jeff Whitty came over from Korea, where he's working and stuff, and that's South Korea, by the way. And, and it was just cool to see all those guys there. And Anthony Hochran was there, and I got to meet Mark Polsky, and it was just an awesome time. And putting a face to the name, and they had a bond just in that table, not just because they were each individually trying to plug their stuff. Yes, they were putting themselves out there too, but as a group too. So it was cool to see them as a team, sort of.
John sat over there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bounced back and forth between that table and Blue Line, but yeah. And Skystorm, so I was all over the place.
That was cool. That was very cool.
So yeah. I mean, I change up those things every so often, and the Mentor Academy is, if somebody wants to do a prolonged back and forth thing, the one more kind of $10, that one. So no, you weren't stupid at all. You just hadn't seen it. I'll play with stuff, and I try to learn a little bit about tabs and widgets and all that stuff.
Good.
So I have. Come on.
Darren saved the site. What, about a month ago?
Yeah.
Crashed it. Darren.
It updated or something. It had an update for some reason.
It killed it.
It was calling. So,
Darren, get it back up. He saved a day.
That'll teach you to update things.
I didn't update anything.
Did it?
Did it itself.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, I didn't do anything. I didn't touch it. I just posted a little while ago.
Whatever. Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's the cool thing too about knowing people. Save my
Get it back up within a couple hours.
And I will be inking something for, Darren at some point. I haven't forgotten Darren.
He asks me every so often. So.
Well, I remind him whenever I see him or talk to him.
Let's see. Just continue with claysway.com. 2 strips a week. And like I said, I've got 8 strips here, so I can get everything done. My goal is this week to get everything done through the holidays. So the strip just goes live on its own. Wasn't so successful today because we had a snow day here. So that means the little one was home running around. And but hopefully I get...
Providing material?
Yes. We went sled riding at dark. That was fun. So yes, we have new material. Been working with Blue Line. Christmas sales are still going on. Got a new newsletter out. And just talking with Bill. I have the first half of the Alex Ross interview in my hands. I'll be getting that to Bill here, and we'll be getting that next issue of Sketch cranking. So, sort of that, just sort of moving into the holiday season. That's it. So, John, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can always get a hold of me at john@sketchmagazine.net or john@comicrelated.com.
And Bill?
At the aforementioned places, websites, and also directly at comicsmentor@gmail.com.
Cool. I can be reached at Bob H at BlueLinePro.com. We can all three be reached at podcast@sketchmagazine.net. And please send us questions. It really helps us plan out these podcasts. And that's it. It's been a good one, guys.
Yes.
Until next week.
Take care. Actually, see you in 2 days. Yeah,
that's true.
All right, guys. Thanks.